Now let us discuss another 10 marker. The question is asking you to apply the AGIL framework of Parsons so as to explain key problems in the society. Now I have seen students, who get worried about such questions, but I am of the opinion that these type of questions, it gives you golden opportunity to showcase your knowledge, to showcase your interconnections to the examiner. If you are able to do justice to these questions, it might significantly influence the examiner. It will produce a kind of bias towards you. Okay. And also, these questions have no definite answers. 50 different people will be writing 50 different kind of answers. So it gives you an opportunity to innovate, to be flexible, to use your own unique personality. Now, how would I be approaching this question? I would first give introduction in very simple 3 lines. Talcott Parsons, in his social systems theory, right, he says every society, in order to survive and grow, it has to perform 4 basic functions. This is something that he calls as functional prerequisites, and these are AGIL: adaptation, goal attainment, integration, latency. These functions, every society has to perform in order to survive and in order to grow. Now let us apply this AGIL framework to understand key problems in the society and specifically in our society. First is adaptation. What is adaptation? See, every system, in order to survive, it has to continuously negotiate with its external environment. It has to continuously adapt and adjust to the external environment. This is something that we studied as, this is cybernetic control. So every system, in order to survive, continuous adjustment and adaptation with the external environment, cybernetic control. Now let us try to analyze. Andre Bethe you can bring in. Through this you can explain persistence of caste in modern India. Caste is not replaced by class in modern India. Rather, caste has adapted itself to the demands of modernity. Caste has donned a new avatar. It has transformed itself. It has metamorphosized, and it has utility in the modern India. It performs certain functions. Therefore, old caste is replaced by new caste rather than caste being replaced by class. Caste identity is mobilized by group of people in order to assert their dignity. For example, Dalit mobilization, wherein the Dalit politicians, Dalit CM like Mayawati is passing favorable policies which is leading to upliftment of Dalits. It is also contributing to dignity of Dalits. That people from our community, she is holding the higher post in our state. So dignity. Then caste is also used to mobilize over what? Modern benefits. Caste identities are asserted and people are mobilized on the basis of caste, and they are engaged in various reservation based movements, Jat agitation, Gujjar Andolan. So this is why caste is used to mobilize people and to assert their control over resources like land, jobs, education, reservation. Caste is also becoming deeply engaged in politics. And Andre Bethe says, whereas caste has receded from the spheres of, like say, marriage or let's say rituals, but it has strengthened itself in the sphere of politics, and that is why it is still surviving. Caste as a traditional institution, it has adapted to the modern institution of politics. So this is a great mix of tradition and modernity, and that is how caste is still surviving. So caste is not replaced by class, rather old caste is replaced by new caste. This is something that M.N. Srinivas says, new avatar or metamorphosis of caste. AB says, strengthening of role of caste in politics. Dalit mobilization, you will see social engineering, Mayawati, dignity and favorable policies. So caste ideology, this is ideology, it is emphasized Not, it is caste identities are emphasized to enjoy control over resources, to mobilize people on the basis of their caste, jobs, education, reservation. That is why caste is still surviving. There is a persistence of caste in modern India. Then religious revivalism. There is a rise of cults. See, due to aggressive modernity, man is there is a rise in what? Individualism. Modern societies are technocratic, in which there is lack of emotions, right? Rational action, means and orientation. There is iron cage of rationality. Therefore, man feels suffocated. This leads to dehumanization, and therefore, these cults give personal experience of God. So, religion has also adapted to the demands of the modernity. It is providing personal experience of God, so thereby aligning itself with individualism. It is leading to, it is giving hope to people. It is forming a community in this otherwise, world in which there are less social bonds, less social ties. Men are feeling egoistic currents, suicidogenic currents, and therefore, it gives a kind of association with fellow human beings. So forms a community, and they have also adapted to modern technology. They are using the technologies. They are active on social media, YouTube and TV Bhakti channels, reaching to large number of people. Then you will see in the modern times, conflicts between the nation states are increasing. So every nation state is increasing its spending on what? Defense expenditure, so as to acquire modern defense weapon systems. We are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, indigenization of defense. So India is adapting or negotiating or adjusting to its external environment. We have two hostile neighbors, and therefore, we are continuously innovating. The DRDO is doing great work. So increased spending in modern weapon systems, defense technology, it is essential for nation states in order to survive in era of modern warfare. So this is what adaptation adjustment, to ensure one's survival. Then again, climate change and global warming. So this is something that the world must be looking into. I think the nation states are not that serious about the issues of climate change and global warming, and therefore it is not adapting and adjusting. So there is lack of adaptation, and this severely it puts great threat to the existence of humanity itself. And therefore we need greener technologies, we need solar energy, we need the accounting or auditing should be based on what? Calculating the destruction to environment, the environmental cost, the ecosystem services which have been damaged. They have a cost of their own. They should be accommodated within the accounting process, so as to give the real estimate of GDP. So green GDP auditing, this is not happening. Then what is goal attainment? Goal attainment is what? Setting up of goals and setting up of goals and mobilization of resources, man, material, money, in order to achieve these goals. Then first is, here you can say there is issue of corruption, another key societal problem, that these resources are being siphoning off resources. And you will see, you can give an example, leakages or diversion in public distribution system. Then various goals or ideals of constitution, right? Preamble envisaged that justice, social, economic and political should be extended to the citizens of our country. So we have tried to bring in political justice. Women's reservation bill was passed. Reservation for SCs and STs is there in parliament. Then we introduced 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, which led to democratic decentralization and strengthening of PRIs. So political justice we have tried to do that. Economic justice we are trying to do, and there is decrease in absolute, this is economic justice, there is decrease in absolute poverty. You can quote World Bank recent figures, in which World Bank in its recent report, it highlights how poverty in India, it has reduced from I think 27% to roughly 5.5 or 5.6% from 2011-12 to 2023-4. I think 180 million people or somewhere around this, they have been lifted out of poverty. So that is a good thing. However, inequalities are constant. So you can say another key problem is rising inequalities. Absolute poverty is decreasing but rising inequality. Another key problem. Inequalities are continuously rising, gap between rich and poor are increasing. However, welfare state is doing its best to ensure that resources are mobilized. There should be redistribution of wealth, and that is why it is engaged in direct benefit transfer or subsidies, ensuring redistribution of wealth. For example, Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana. You can write this. Then, however, even after this, you will see we have a dismal performance when it comes to global hunger index. So, still poverty, malnutrition and hunger still persist, even though our country has the largest food distribution program of the world. So these are the things you can write here. Then integration. Integration means that there should be unity, consensus, solidarity, coordination, cooperation and integration between parts and subparts, so as they can make a good, bigger whole which is stable in nature. So integration and value consensus should be there between different parts and subparts. However, you will say that not all group of people are equally committed to the collective conscience, right? Not all group of people commit to broader values of society or social system. Okay. So you can point out to the issues of insurgency and secessionism. There is a demand for greater Nagaland. Okay. Not everyone believes in the Indian nation, the Indian country. They say that these insurgent groups, for example, who are demanding greater Nagaland, NSC and IM and NSC and K, they say they are a separate nation, they have a separate history, they practice separate culture, and their religion is different from the mainstream religion, that is the Hindu religion, and therefore, again, lack of value consensus, and there is lack of integration, and then there are calls for Azadi in Kashmir, separatism in Kashmir. So it points out to that. Then, divisive politics. People are playing politics on the basis of religion, ethnicity, language, race. Here you can say, which this point I have not incorporated here, forgot to incorporate, but it's a very important point, that in a nation state, in a social system, multiple religions coexist. Ideally there should be reciprocity or harmony between these nations. Secularism should be a core value. However, you will say that each religion is committed to its own values. There is unity within the followers of one particular religion. However, two religions might not agree with each other. So there is a dialectics between two religions, and this is leading to inter-religious conflict in the modern society. So you can also write this. Very important point. Then, there is we can talk about Team India, how our states form constituent units of the federal whole, and they are working in synergy, and we have basically promoted cooperative and competitive federalism, Team India. However, you will see that sometimes there are divide among the party lines. Maybe one party will be in the center. For example, BJP was in the center, and Aam Aadmi Party was forming the government in the past in Delhi. So there was always a conflict between these two parties, and that also led to people of Delhi suffering. So not a Team India spirit, right? Then issue of state emergency is there. Then imposition of president rule, that is another point. Then when I'm talking about divisive politics on the basis of language, then there are issues of regionalism, imposition of, for example, language issues and imposition. For example, in Maharashtra and Karnataka, you will see people are being forced to speak Kannada and Marathi. So that is an outcome of regionalism. So Nehru says that there are three vices which are the biggest threat to India. These are communalism, casteism and regionalism. So regionalism, he says, it is a threat to our political whole. It is threat to India. Then see, this function of integration is performed by the institution of law. Law is there for resolution of conflict and settlement of disputes. But however, our judiciary is slow moving. Our laws are very complex, which is beyond the comprehension of a common man. Our constitution is too bulky, and our law is expensive, and there is a corruption within the judiciary as well. For example, they do not come under RTI. So there is a secrecy there. So here you can write about integration. Then what about latency and pattern management? See, it is the function of what family, religion and education to ensure that customs, for example, family, through the process of socialization, it ensures that traditions are passed, or customs or values or norms are passed across generation. This is something that institution of family does. Family religion also ensures that one is appropriately socialized, that one is manifesting a what? Normal behavior. Behavior is in conformity with the broader rules, societal regulations. Okay. Because man is committing to conscience collective. Why man is committing to the conscience collective? Because he is appropriately socialized. So this is leading to what? Maintenance of pattern of values. So family, religion and education engage in process of socialization, instill societal norms and values. So they produce law-abiding conformist citizens. Law-abiding citizens, conformist predictive behavior. However, there are issues of what? Crime or deviance, especially people who have had disturbed childhood. Okay. So they have maladjusted personality and they manifest various sorts of pathological behavior. You will see in criminals, they are maladjusted personalities. They manifest various pathological behaviors, and this is generally found that they have had disturbed childhood. Similarly, crime is also adapting itself to modernity. There is adaptation. There is a rise of modern white collar crimes. Okay. Then in the era of globalization, there is interconnectedness. Okay. World has become globalized and interconnected. There is a rapid flow of ideas, technology, values from outside into a nation, into a society. So there is what? Rapid diffusion of culture. Okay. So continuously society, social system is subjected to great inputs, great disturbances from the external environment. So this is leading to what? Rapid cultural evolution, rapid changing in cultural patterns. Okay. So this is leading to modernization, and this is what? Threat to traditions. So there is it is also pointing to what? Dialectics between tradition and modernity, and this is something that you will find in religious fundamentalism. Okay. Then instead of stable cultural patterns, there is rapid social and cultural changes, and this is leading to what? Generational gap, the gap between Gen Zs and millennials. Okay. New generation is not accepting the traditional authority of the older generation. New generation feels that they are sidelined, whereas old generation feel that their authority is not being respected, they are not valued, and right, so they are losing their relevance. So this is also leading to what? Intergenerational hostility. For example, the rising conflict between parents and children in case of modern society. So all of these things you can study. So we have studied so many. All of these are what? Social problems. Economic, political problems are there, but mostly related from the perspective of sociology. Now, if you can write these points, let's say it's a 10 marker. If you can write 5 major points like caste, religion, crime, it is going to, I think, it is going to significantly influence the examiner in your favor. So these questions are golden opportunities. Okay. There are risks involved if it's a choice based question, but let's say if it comes in mandatory questions, then if you can really do justice to these questions, they are very, very beneficial for you.